All right, this is part 2 of a video I posted earlier about this Fender Telecaster bass. Belongs to a friend of mine, and was able to fix the low output issue, and it was a soldering issue in the pickup. So if you watch, I think, the part 2 video, you'll see where the problem was. So I put it all back together, and it works. I'm gonna just play through it. It's an interesting bass. When I had it apart, printed right on the inside of the neck was I think 1972. I think that's when this bass was made. It has a 3-bolt neck, the micro tilt adjustment neck. Maple neck, truss rod is in the back there. Really cool bass. These tuners, if they show up there, they're really oxidized or tarnished or whatever. So I'm just going to play a little bit on it. So I noticed it doesn't have a whole lot of clarity. This pickup, this Fender split humbucker, it's a real kind of dark sounding pickup. So it's not as clear. I have another bass sitting over here I'm going to grab for a second. It's a Spectre bass. I'm going to do a review about this one. If I plug this one in, and try to do a quick switch here, but if I plug in this Spectre bass just for comparison, this seems to have a little more clarity. I'm going to do another video later, a review of this bass. It's a import, Spectre bass. I got it at a music store for like $100. It was amazing. It was like a blowout sale item. Probably knew it was like a $300 bass or so. But this one has EMG pickups, passive, and it's a nice bass. I've used this on some gigs. I'm going to switch back to the Telecaster bass though. So let me grab that back. So the Telecaster bass, when I compare the two, let's get fall over. Okay, when I compare the two, the Telecaster, definitely has a darker, tone. And the amp I'm using, it's a Vox DA5. It's a little guitar practice amp, and I tried to set it so there was no distortion. It's set on basically a clean sound. But this bass, I think this has higher output than the Spectre bass pickups. But I didn't do a video before I did the repair. It was much quieter than what it is now. So it's putting on a decent level now. Before I did the repair, and when it came to me, the person that owned it, he was a friend of mine, and he said, the output is just really low. And he had taken it to a previous repair person. That person thought maybe the magnets were losing magnetization or something, which I don't know if that really happens or not. I kind of doubted that, but if you watch the part 2 video, you'll see where I found the problem and what the fix was. So and these strings might be old. Part of why this might sound kind of a little bit dark or not as clear might be the age of the strings. And I noticed like harmonics don't quite come out as much. I do this little check on my jazz bass. That's another bass I have. I'll do a review of that. That's a really cool bass. That's a whole other story. But this one, the harmonics don't seem to really jump out as much as they do on the Spectre bass. But what else can I tell you about this? The pick guard was cracked right here. I think on these basses, a common issue is the pick guard usually cracks right there because it's really thin. So obviously there's a piece missing there, and when it came to me, it had a crack here. It was taped together on the inside. Something else I did to fix it was the output jack was, for some reason, it seemed kind of flimsy and cheap. I put on a really nice heavy-duty Switchcraft jack. I like Switchcraft parts. I trust their parts. Every time I fix a guitar, if the output jack looks at all marginal, I put on a Switchcraft jack. I use Switchcraft MIDI jacks on the Zendrum battery box, which I make, and there's videos on my channel about the Zendrum battery box. That's a product that I make for the Zendrum. It's a MIDI controller, and I use only Switchcraft jacks on that. Haven't had any issues with the battery boxes, and I've been making those for 20 or 25 years, and have not had any issues. So I trust Switchcraft. One thing I noticed about guitars, even relatively high-end guitars, sometimes they use really cheap electronics. They'll use cheap pots or cheap output jacks. So that's usually a good upgrade if you have any issues, just to put on like good quality potentiometers and a good quality jack. Like I mentioned, I like Switchcraft. So that's pretty much all the ins and outs of this bass. You know, I'm not sure if I would use this on a gig myself. I mean, it sounds kind of cool, but it definitely has a certain kind of tone to it. And I think for slapping, I don't know if it'd be a great bass for slapping. Part of that might be the amp just kind of not being able to handle it. So anyways, that is it. Fender Telecaster bass, very, very cool. From the 70s, and it's working much better now. And you know, it definitely has some finish cracks in it. And that's pretty much it. One thing I noticed on the inside, they did not shield the cavity at all, so there was no shielding, you know, copper foil tape or paint or anything. I've seen that on newer guitars. I'm not sure when that started going into practice, but it's always a good idea. And there was a ground wire going from the bridge to the ground connection on the pots, so there was a wire inside the body going from the ground to the bridge, so that all the strings and everything function as a ground. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. I got more videos coming up. I got more stuff I'm fixing. I have several guitar amps I've got to fix, some keyboards, some guitars. So I will do videos on each of those repairs, talk about what the problem was I found. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it. Whether I did or not, I'll do a video either way. Sometimes when you can't fix something, you still learn something in the process. So, but I'll talk about, you know, what the fix is. The fix for this was a simple touch-up of a solder connection inside the pickup. It was kind of marginal. There were two connections that were like kind of like this, almost crisscross. They looked like they were soldered. I could put some pressure on the one lead coming off the pickup, and I could see that it was moving. So it was like a marginal solder connection. There might not have been enough solder. Maybe over time, you know, age, vibration, other things, maybe that connection was okay at the factory, and maybe over time it just got, you know, compromised. And I measured a really high resistance, you know, between the hot and the ground of the output jack, which, you know, made me think there was something in, you know, not making a full connection like it should have. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and have a good day. Bye.